Hi everyone, welcome back to the StudyTube Project. Hi everyone, my name is Raina. I'm a third year dental student at the University of Sheffield. I have a YouTube channel called Raina on the Cusp where I make videos about dentistry, tips on getting into dental school, my life as a dental student and just university in general. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to head over to my channel and subscribe. So today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into all things teeth. Hopefully you take away at least one thing from this video. So I'm going to be showing you the best way to brush your teeth and giving you a few extra tips to up your oral hygiene game as well. And I've got my trusty little model here to help me out, so thank you to my housemate for letting me borrow this. Before we get into my teeth tips, that's so hard to say. Before we get into my tips for looking after your teeth, let's first talk about why we need to brush our teeth. Let's say you've had a meal, a tasty meal, and it's been a few hours, and then you randomly run your tongue along your gum line or your teeth, and you feel this sort of weird furry feeling. That feeling is plaque. Plaque is basically a mostly invisible, sticky film that coats your teeth, and it contains lots of things like bacteria, sugars, food particles and other components as well. And this is constantly forming on your teeth. Everyone develops plaque because we all have bacteria in our mouth, and the bacteria like to feed on the bits of food that get stuck in between our teeth that aren't washed away between meals. They are actually then able to process or metabolize the sugars in our diet and the foods that we eat to grow, and they also produce acid via this method. It's the acids that then dissolve or damage the enamel layer of your teeth, which starts off the process of caries, or more commonly known as tooth decay. So enamel is that hard white outer surface of your teeth that you can see if you just look in the mirror, and tooth decay can lead to large holes in our teeth, pain, abscesses, and all of these nasty things that we just don't want. Secondly, this plaque and bacteria that forms on our teeth all the time can also irritate the gums. They can lead to your gums getting inflamed, which is something called gingivitis, which you might have heard of. If this inflammation is left to its own devices and not treated, things can get a little bit out of hand, and it can lead to something called periodontitis, or otherwise more commonly known as gum disease. And this is really bad news. This is where your teeth actually could fall out. And thirdly, if we leave plaque on our teeth too long and don't brush it away, it can actually harden and form calculus or tartar. You might have noticed this before if you've looked at your teeth. It's those hard, yellowy bits that get stuck often at the gum line or behind your lower front teeth. And the thing to note is, once this forms, you can't actually brush this away at home anymore. You have to go see a dentist and get it professionally cleaned off. You might be thinking, well, humans didn't always brush their teeth, did they? Well, no, they didn't. But back in the day, in ancient history, their diets didn't contain as much processed foods and fast food and high sugar foods, so therefore all of that bacteria didn't have as strong of a food source and a method to create all of this acid, and often the fibre that was in the food was enough to sort of wash away any food remnants that were left in the mouth. These days we have a huge task on our hands to keep our mouths clean because we have a high sugary diet, fast food, smoking and fizzy drinks as well. So therefore our mouths are no longer sort of self-cleansing, and we need to mechanically remove this plaque ourselves. Okay, so now let's move on to how to sort of brush your teeth in the most effective way. So this method is called the modified Bass technique. So this is where you hold your toothbrush at a 45-degree angle to the gum line, and you gently move your brush back and forth in circular motions whilst applying gentle pressure along the gum line and the tooth surfaces. You need to make sure you're hitting the gum line, the outer surfaces of the tooth, the inner surfaces of the tooth, and the chewing surfaces of the tooth. An easier way to get to the backs of your teeth would be to angle your toothbrush more vertical for your lower teeth like this, and then switch it round for your upper teeth. Okay, so that was the technique more for manual toothbrushes, but what about if you use an electric toothbrush? Well, luckily enough, the actual toothbrush does basically all of the work for you. You just need to hold the toothbrush head on each tooth surface and angle it towards the gum line, and you work on each tooth in the mouth till you're done. So you need to be using these techniques twice a day, morning and night, as you probably already know, and for 2 minutes each time. So let's move on to a few other tips to help you fully look after your teeth. I mentioned that you also need to be cleaning in between your teeth because your toothbrush is just too big to fit in any sort of cracks or gaps that you have. If you've got small gaps, then floss is perfect, and if you have larger gaps, then you can use interdental brushes. And don't forget to also brush your tongue, because a lot of bad bacteria harbours this place, and it can actually cause quite bad breath if you don't brush this area of your mouth. Also, if you've ever wondered how much toothpaste to use, I guess I don't know why you'd be wondering that, but if you ever have wondered how much toothpaste to use, then a pea size is just enough. And you need to be changing your toothbrush every 3 months, or when it's starting to look a little bit sad, a little bit frayed, because it's just not effective after this point. So for adults, use a toothpaste with at least 1,350 parts per million of fluoride in it, and most supermarket toothpaste already have 1,450 parts per million fluoride in it, so you're good to go. Okay, so when you're done brushing, you need to just spit out the excess and not rinse your mouth out. Now, you're probably thinking, what? So many people do this. So many people rinse their mouth out with water or a mouthwash after they've brushed, but literally you're just washing away all of that toothpaste that you've just put on, and the toothpaste has fluoride in it, which is the magic ingredient. So fluoride strengthens and protects your teeth and helps to reduce the chances of tooth decay. So if you rinse after your brush, you're just rinsing away all of that goodness down the drain. And also don't be tempted to use mouthwash after you brush. Mouthwash does have fluoride in it, but it has a much lower concentration of fluoride than toothpaste. So you're actually lowering the amount of fluoride that you've got on your teeth, and that's less protection. But when should I use mouthwash then? Mouthwash is a really great addition to your overall oral hygiene routine, but it's just really important when you use it. A good time to use it would be after lunch, when you've had a bit of food and you just want to freshen up. You can go and give your mouth a quick rinse. So what type of toothbrush should you use? You want to be choosing a toothbrush that has a soft to medium bristle in it, so that you're not too harsh on your gums and you don't cause them to recede. A lot of people also ask me whether an electric toothbrush is worth the investment. If your technique is really good with a manual toothbrush, it's just as effective as using an electric toothbrush. However, a lot of people find it much easier to use an electric toothbrush because you don't have to do as much work, it's doing it for you, and you might find it easier to get a more thorough clean. I hope you guys found this interesting and that you might have learned something new today. If you want more content on dentistry, student life, and what my life is like as a dental student, then make sure to head over to my channel, Raina on the Cusp, and subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around. I've also got a UCAT series going on at the moment, so if there are any dental or medical students watching this, then hopefully you find that useful. And I also share my day-to-day life and more dental content over on my Instagram at Raina on the Cusp. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Bye!